My name is Jeremiah. For as long as I can remember, I've had an almost morbid fascination
Hey, we're live with the stream.
and everything paranormal, especially those things that venture into the darkest recesses of our primal fears and spark the thoughts that for most would be the stuff of nightmares. In 2007, this fascination, along with some unexplainable experiences, led me to start a paranormal research team known today as Everyday Legacy Paranormal. Then in 2011, a road trip led myself and a close friend into the darkest places we had ever been. That was the beginning of Road Trip Paranormal. Now, while still active with them, I no longer lead either of those teams, but the people that make them up are the best friends a guy like me could ask for. Myself, along with Jason, Leo, Roth, Max, and Michelle are reaching out to share our passions for everything odd, fringe, and paranormal with the world. We are Cryptic Heartland.
Taking the mics live.
And we are back. It's been a few weeks. What's up, guys?
Not much is happening.
Anyone?
Yeah,
we're here.
We're here.
Everything's going great. Had a really good investigation last night with Jeremiah. Lots of stuff going on. Probably one of the best EVP sessions I've ever witnessed. So,
Nice.
so far this week's been, last week was great.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was pretty cool last night. Lots of unexplained noises, disembodied sounds. I mean, the ghost box did really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
We had a big round. All kinds of stuff going on last night. Yeah, that was Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Usually yeah, definitely. That's cool. A lot went good, and
Yeah, we
we
had
to see what happened when the results are the first go around. You know, it's pretty interesting with the EVPs that you captured, and
yeah, and
some
I
weird
was
stuff going on.
I was actually moved out of the way in the hallway. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
To move somebody like me, that's takes a lot of energy. So
I'm sure you like
put a shout out, had a little help.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks to Dan. Really appreciate it. I know you're probably watching.
Yeah, he did 2 nights with you guys.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was great. Did a
Yeah.
great job.
Oh, over there in the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, Paula had a lot of stuff going on while she was there. Of course, when that ice
Yeah.
thing hit, they had to leave a little early. But Paula had a lot of stuff going on as well.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Fascinating.
How about your guys'
Yeah.
time off? What'd you do?
Trying to survive this damn weather. That's what I'm
Up and down, constantly.
Good luck with that.
I'm tired of it. For sure.
No, it's just been a lot of changes going around. So
Yeah.
with a lot of things, but we've been absent just because we've been doing a lot of stuff in Dodge City. We were out there twice and
Yeah.
had a lot of
2
fun.
public events and
It was interesting the second time I went out there too.
yeah, it was cool. I had a good time out there.
There's a lot of stuff that's happening that I never seen out there before. So
Yeah.
it was interesting with that.
The dynamics of it and the whole investigation has changed. I mean, as far as with all the remodels they've done,
Right.
I think it's moved some stuff to other locations, and it's also created up some new things. I think also too. I mean, as far as what's actually haunting the place, right? It's kind of stirred some other stuff up.
Well, the activity in the basement, I noticed there was a lot more. I mean, the whole place was a lot more. I mean, there was stuff going on everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And the spot we're talking about is the Depot Theater in Dodge City.
Right. which if you haven't gone out there, we're going to be going out there in April, and I don't know if tickets are available still. You know, they sell, every time we announce it, it sells like
Yeah.
really fast.
I think they're already gone, but you might check it, because, I mean, you know, people buy them in advance and they have to give up.
Yeah. And also, too, keep your name on a wait list out there. If they have enough of a high demand again, like they did, this will be their third, you know, in the new year already, and they'll probably ask us to do another one.
He's already asked us to
I figured he had.
come back out for
So, hey, it's a great place, beautiful inside place. I mean, as far as what they've done to it, and also the activity is just crazy.
Yeah.
So
John said he's never seen anything like this before, where people have been so fascinated to go
yeah,
out and do this with a group, and the fact that we're doing this, you know, at the depot.
yeah,
He said people are just coming from all over.
yeah.
To
It's
be a part of it.
definitely. I mean, it has quite the history. I mean, it's Dot City, the Wild
Yeah.
West, right?
Yeah.
So very cool. Anything else going on with everybody, or just
No, I think this year for, I was talking to Kathy, owner of Ghost Tours, Kansas, said, we're gonna try to, just book the bus tours for the Ghost Tours just in October.
Oh, cool.
So, we're gonna push for, private tours throughout the year.
Yeah.
And just do that and see what we can do with that factor. It's just so damn hard to get a bus.
It is, yeah.
And fill that thing during the summer when nobody really wants to go ghost hunting in the 100-degree weather
Except for us,
or
maybe.
heat storms or anything like that. You know, so
We've been through extreme cold, we've been through extreme heat, and it's never just too comfortable, is it?
why is it every time we go out somewhere here recently when we do an investigation or somewhere, it's so freaking cold outside?
Well, it is winter in
But
Kansas.
the day before, it's like, that's what I'm saying, like, you know, like the day before here recently, it's been like 70 degrees, almost 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Next night, we plan something, 40,
Yeah.
it's 20.
Yeah.
And it's icing, by the way, too,
Yeah.
or, you know, or something crazy. Yeah, no, it's the field that we're in, you know, we're called at any given time, day or night, basically, and they want us out there yesterday to help them get rid of whatever's there, you know, figure out what's going on. So,
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more, we've been really busy with residential people reaching out to us needing help.
yeah,
So that's been nice as well.
yeah, quite a bit of referrals lately. People know somebody, or a friend of a friend that said they need help, and it's been over there and trying to figure out what's going on. We've had some crazy investigations lately.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks back to back.
And people at home, bear with us. We're getting to all your evidence. We have tons of stuff to go through. We have probably quite a bit, almost a dozen reveals to give out still, and we're working on it at home, and we'll get it to you as soon as we can. So stay with us. So
Right quick before we dig in,
yes, sir.
you guys, all you guys watching, share, like, get this video out there, help us start rebuilding the audience, and because we've got some exciting stuff coming up.
Definitely exciting. Yep, can't wait.
So just go ahead and like and share it now. Share it on your Facebook page, or whatever your preferred social media is. We're on just about all of them. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yep. Okay.
What's new? Any questions? Anything? Anything
Questions?
in mind?
That's the show.
I know.
Good night. No, we're kidding. Kidding.
No, something I kind of wanted to bring up was the fact of, and we've had a case like this back in a few years ago. Started out as an interview, that's as far as it went. But there's been an increase with a lot of people who contact us, want us to come out, but then immediately turn and go and get the religious side of it. They go get a pastor, they go get a preacher, they go get somebody who's going to come and bless the place without any knowledge of what they're doing or anything like that too. And it's just, to me, it's become a little troubling. And the idea of, well, for one, who are they bringing out to their house to take care of their problem? They don't even know what the problem is. And are they causing any harm, or are they doing anything good for themselves in doing so? So that's the question. Here. There you go. How bad.
You know,
I have my opinion to it.
I think, you know, one of my opinions on that is, you know, it comes down to when that person is at the house, you know, and then that person has an incident that happens, and then they start talking to somebody at work, and then that person says, hey, I know a friend, and then that person says, hey, you don't need a team to come in, just call a priest out. And then they go, oh, okay. And they have no idea at that point in time what's going on. And they probably think actually having a priest come out is better than having a team come out.
Right.
You know, because one, they don't know anything about us yet. Number two, it's the easiest way out is why not just go directly to the source and a priest can fix everything, right?
Right. Plus, I think part of
Well,
it-
that's
Go ahead.
the thought that people have
Yeah,
anyway.
They think they don't know. All they know is they're dealing with something that's not it's inhumane or whatever. It's not human, or in their eyes, not human. So they think, why would I know people off the street that can get rid of this thing versus a priest? I mean, I think they think the priest is going to get rid of whatever's there by doing a couple of prayers or some oil or whatever here and there, not realizing what they're actually dealing with. I mean, we've seen a couple of cases where people have asked multiple people to come out to bless this location and may not be what they're needing. I mean, maybe, if you start with the religious side of things, maybe it's something that has to do with the Indian side of things. I mean, so they really don't gel, they don't mix together. So if you're not knowing what you're blessing, you're either making it angry or making it stronger or who knows what,
Mm-hmm.
or harm and good.
And I think you guys ended up with a situation like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just remember that case that we had that came our way. It was like maybe maybe almost 5 years ago. You and I and Paula went to go to that house. It was the all glass house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy was legitimately scared.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Had a lot of stuff happening, things missing. I want to say it was, he took photographs and it showed, it could have been matrixing in the
Right.
photograph with possible skeletons coming out of the windows and everything, because he was outside looking in and he took this photograph. It looked like skeletons. Not really, but you make it what you want and
Right.
you see what you want to see sometimes.
Right.
And for the people that are out there listening to Jason, the reason what we're talking about the pictures is he started the construction process here, and his family I think was in Kansas City. So his mom was wanting to know, hey, take pictures and send them to me and let me know how the construction's going.
Gotcha.
So daily he would come home, take pictures and send them to his mom, and his
Yeah.
mom was calling going, did you see this?
Yeah.
And that's how it all
Right.
started.
I mean, because a lot of pictures you can see what you want to see,
Right.
whether something's truly there. I mean, I've been sent many pictures of, it looks like, if I look hard enough at it, I can see what they're saying is there, but it may just be a logical explanation. Oh, it's just,
It's a block splash.
it could be a tree, making the shadow,
Right.
that's why it moves and stuff like that, but,
Right.
yeah, lost splash for
Yeah.
big one,
Yeah, it's the
a lot.
standard of
Yeah.
ghost splash.
But, well, we still have to take every case
Right.
serious. We can't say, oh, that's just a tree making that thing, or, that's a block squad. Well, maybe, what if it's not, though? What if we say, oh,
Right.
next case, and next thing you know, it's one that's severe enough that we should have looked at it even closely. You gotta take every claim serious. That's why we do interviews.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and to finish the story, it's the fact that we came out, we interviewed, we talked to him about what we would do and try to help him, because he was pretty scared about everything that was happening. But so we were about ready to come back out to get it all set up for the second go around, do the actual investigation. And he's like, I just had the priest come out and he blessed the house, so I think we're good.
I do remember that.
And I thought, okay.
Mhm.
But I asked him, I said, do you know what you had there? I mean, what was going
Right.
on?
Right.
And he's like, no, but I think we're good. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you guys.
So be it.
Sometimes you gotta do that, cut your losses, because as long as if he can live in that, or if they can live in that atmosphere comfortably,
And
and
it could be just a piece of mind.
yeah, mentally, that you know what, priest came out, everything's gone. It's gone. And the next thing I don't hear it as much around. I think it's there, even though it could may or may
Yeah,
not
because
be.
I think you've checked up on him, haven't you?
I
You
did.
in the beginning.
I did for a couple months. I texted him to see how everything was going, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, oh, you know, he traveled a lot too, and he was like, well, I've been busy and haven't been there a lot. So I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so be it. If you're happy, if you feel safe, that's fine.
Right. That's
Right.
It's those that are actually scared. I mean, totally afraid of what's going on because they feel like harm is actually coming their way, and they go. And just because somebody tells them right away, oh, just send this person over and they can bless it. And it's not even like a person of the cloth or
Right.
Mhm.
or a legitimate, you know, pastor or priest or anything come in and they bless the place. Okay? I'm not saying I don't know. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it bugs me for the fact that it's just a random, just because they go to church, they come in and they do the blessing.
Right.
Or they got their certificate off.
You know, online certificate. You know, I mean, unless you practice it,
Yeah.
how do you know you're doing any good?
Well,
Right.
I think a lot of the stuff you see on TV, they go in. I'm watching the movie. Well, not me, but the person in general. I'm watching the movies to where they said, you know, I've seen a priest come in. They throw this type of oil on the wall. They have this crucifix. You know, they go like this, lost, bless everything. You know, or if you say, well, you know, I watch my ghost shows that everybody's burning sage. Sage is the thing to do. You know?
Right.
Well, you don't know what type of sage to burn. Or,
Sage is
you
the
know,
answer.
it's more than just getting a sage or, you know, household garden plant outside. And
Might as well just go get some weed,
that's what I'm saying.
light it up, make everybody happy in one spot.
Well,
You know?
Well,
no, I'm kidding.
you know, one thing, and this falls right into what you guys are talking about, and hopefully I'm not too long-winded on this, but when I joined this team, you know, I first had met Leo and Jason, and I followed, you know, Jason and Leo around, and one thing, I couldn't wait to become a, you know, a case manager, to go in and do the interviews, you know, get, you know, and what they always taught me was to ask this question: what do you want from us?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you want from us? Because when it comes, all the evidence that they have, they've given to us. Now we need to find out what. 90% of the time, actually 99% of the time, it's I just want to know if I'm crazy.
Right.
Well, this is the first time in almost 7 years that I've been with you guys that I had somebody go, I want it out.
Right.
And it wasn't, well, I just want it to go away. It was, I want it out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is awesome. Because, you know, now I'm going to get to, you know,
Right.
it's something different.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've been out there a couple times. Michelle and I went out there and did the interview. It
Mm-hmm.
was a great interview with the family. It seemed pretty legit. Then we went out, actually did the first investigation, had some amazing EVPs, found out it could possibly be related to somebody that had passed on with a suicide. Well, then, as we got there longer, as we stayed longer, it started getting darker in there, is what we thought.
Right.
Okay, so once an investigation's done, we take all of our evidence, then I turn everything over to these guys, Jeremiah, Leo, Jason, and let them know, okay, they want it gone. They want it out. So, of course, you guys set up a deal with Jeremiah, who is capable of doing that,
Right.
to go out and start the next level. Well, what I witnessed for the first time was how that can change. And if anybody's out there watching this, this is why you don't just call a priest.
Right.
Because when you get somebody in here, like a team that we have, and the background, we come to find out, or I'm just kind of sitting in the background watching this all come together. It ended up not being a dark entity.
Right.
Okay? And come to find out, the lady that lived in the house could possibly have a gift.
Right.
So instead of us just coming in and doing our thing and making it leave, because everybody knows if they've been doing this, it can come back tenfold.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
I watched Jeremiah take a family that was just nervous and put them at ease and turn this woman around, and to where she texted me today and said she's never felt better about staying at home. And when we
that's
first
awesome.
went there, it was, we were going to get rid of it.
Right.
And I couldn't wait to watch him in action.
Bring it across.
But but no, come to find out,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, here we go. And he goes, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you how to take control of what's here, because
Right.
what here isn't necessarily bad. You need to learn how to control. And I just sat back and was like, wow, because it could have been bad if they had to, and it was just amazing, Jeremy. Great job. Because, and listening to you guys just a minute ago, you talked about get somebody in there that knows what they're doing, that has the background. Don't just call a priest.
Right.
Find out why. Because I'm sure if Jeremiah knows, hey, we need to get a priest in here, that's what you would do.
Yeah.
But come to find out, we don't know what would have happened today to her. If we
Well,
would've died. And instead,
there's,
you've got a family that's sitting there scared now because they're going, is it gone? I wonder if it's gone. And they're walking around the house going, is it gone? Now, that family's walking around, this is my house.
Mhm.
And it's not bugging them. And I just thought that was awesome.
that's the whole thing behind it. You can't just go in. I mean, of course, we always want to find out what the client wants.
Right.
But at the onset, but you can't just go in taking that for granted. That's what we're going to do. That's what's going to happen in the long run. Because just like this case that Rose was talking about, there were a lot of other factors that came into play that turned up in the middle of all this. That it just, I mean, that would not. We could have cleared that house out last night. But without that education and that empowerment to the family, they'd have probably been in worse shape today.
Right.
Just because if you don't change the mindset, the doors are still open.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's kind of like we talk about. I mean, it's even in our tagline. For part of our company is, we're not here to prove or disprove. We're here to find a logical explanation of what's going on. And once you find that answer for them, it's like, well, this is how now you can either coexist with it, because it's been here before you were here, obviously, and it'll be here afterwards.
Right.
Or, this is what we need to do to make maybe next step, what we're going to help you do to understand what's happening. So it's just a matter of educating, like Jeremiah said, what's going on. I know you messaged me a couple of days before that you went out there again, and you were saying, she was saying it was this and it was that. I'm like, honestly, I don't think it is. She wants it. They always go immediately to the darker side of things.
Yeah.
Because I've been pushed, I've been scratched, so, I mean, it's going to happen.
They come to find out, you were right.
They were human, I mean, at one time, I gotta go say, maybe it was just a grumpy person that was, or, somebody that had died tragically, or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's something that, whatever the reason they're still lurking around, or, still existing in this house, or they're there for a reason. Maybe there's their old house they lived in, maybe it was somebody, like she said, maybe a relative possibly that they know, or maybe it's just because it's there. Whatever the case may be, it's like, don't just assume it's bad. I know it's scary for people that are used to having,
right.
Or maybe I never believed in ghosts all this whole time, and all of a sudden, am I going crazy like you talked about? Or, I keep hearing these voices that things get moved, I got pushed, or whatever, It's just getting them. Not everything's bad, it seems, for face value.
Well, everybody sees movies and sees the story and hears the stories, and they automatically think if it's happening, it's got to be, it's got to be The Conjuring happening in their house.
Right.
Right.
It's got to be something evil that's happening.
Or Annabelle, the crazy porcelain doll. Yeah, it's a Raggedy Ann doll. You've seen it on TV by now with Ghost Adventures recently.
And you're right, because I noticed as this has been a 2-week case, and as the 2 weeks has progressed, it got closer to what you were saying.
Yeah.
She started sending me information going, I think it's this, and it kept getting darker. And then once she sat down with Jeremiah, and he helped her explain everything and did a great job about it, she's good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody's freaked out by the worst.
I mean, we still have work to do there. It's not over for them by a long shot. She's got a lot of work to do to.
Are you gonna go back out?
I'm gonna at least have some phone conversations with her. She needs to learn. I'm 98% sure she's got a psychic gift,
That's what I thought.
and she needs to learn how to manage that.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was telling Rose. I think she might be empathic,
Mhm.
and she can, relate to it, sense it, whatever, take on some persona. She's like, I feel like it's, taking over my. And
Right.
I never talked to her. I never been out to the house. I just got a nice sense
Right.
by the feelings. I'm like, this is probably more what we're dealing with.
But what's so interesting is if she did not have, I'm so glad she got a hold of us, because if she did not have the team that we have, with the team that went there, the team that was behind the scene,
Yeah.
and all of us come together, she'd be in a different place today, because
Right.
she just listening to her, I was off in another area, listening,
In
but
other words,
it was amazing to see somebody shy and not know what is going on and why all these things are happening to her, and listening to Jeremiah tell her, well, this is why.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is why. Oh, and now she's walking around, maybe not so
Yeah.
nervous,
Right.
thinking she's weird.
She's more relaxed.
Yeah.
More
She was.
outgoing.
I got a text from her last night at like almost 4 in the morning. So excited because now she felt like she can walk around that house and it's not gonna bug her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it went from you can stay here, but this is my house.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
And that was amazing because this girl in the beginning was not like that. It was please get it out now.
Right.
I mean, the kids were sleeping with them. The kids were sleeping on the couches. When we got there the second time, they rearranged their bedroom, and the kids are now sleeping in their beds.
Good. That's great.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Great team.
clients.
That's what I always try to explain to everybody too, is the fact that we come in trying to figure out what it is and what we're dealing with before you jump off the
The deep end.
jump off the deep end. I was gonna say wagon, but that's yeah. I'm the youngest one in the room right now.
No, that's not true.
Oh, your son.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
But no, it's the fact that they just decide to jump off the deep end with everything and dive into it's horrible, it's evil, and it's.
And it's possible. I mean, there's always a possibility.
Yes.
But like I've said to everybody I've been giving talks to, everybody we've done in their houses, it's like your immediate reaction is going to be something evil, something dark, something. Oh, it's
Well, and that's Hollywood at work,
of course.
It's that's just the perception.
Right, and like I said, you go back and look at all their cases throughout this paranormal history. I mean, people, as far back I can think about, they're very far and few demonic concepts. I mean, you don't know a difference between a dog. Like I told Rose, you would know right away when you walked in if it's demonic or not. I mean, you'd have stuff flying at you, probably. You'd have distinct smells. You would have, it would be dark and heavy in the air. You'd be like, man, I got that, or I can't do this. That kind of mentality versus, I can go in here and hang out for a few hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but the thing is, I was cautioned against is, the more you read into it, like as a person going through this, like she found out, it's this. Oh my God, it's this. You gotta be careful because you open up that train of thought and it's not gonna be a good one. And then, like I said, it could be it could be an old, old grandpa.
But be careful what you ask
Yeah,
for.
and that's just it. You gotta be really cautious.
And a lot of times too, the person that is living in the house is actually bringing it upon. I wouldn't say bringing it upon themselves, but
Making it stronger.
they're allowing it to unknowingly
Right.
allowing it to attack them or
Persuade them or
and
whatever.
get stronger with doing what it's doing and everything like that. And we bring into cases like that. where
Right.
it's, there's a lot of stuff that's disturbing them, or they're getting more depressed, or anything like that. So it's that's what we want to do. We're trying to help with that aspect of it too.
Right.
Try to help guide them in that direction of what this is the next step you need.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, I mean, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Help the clients and get them.
I think it's go ahead.
No, you're okay. Go ahead. Go.
No,
Go.
I was gonna
Go.
on a rant. I was just gonna go on a rant. Go ahead.
So, time.
I'll talk.
Oh, we take a drink. Get serious. Here we go.
No, I just go ahead.
Anyway, sorry.
Most of the time, it is, well, it's just like Rose said, they 99% of the time they just want to know that they're not crazy.
Right.
And if you can just give them that validation, you know, whether you actually find evidence of a haunting or not, you can explain to them, no, you're not crazy. This stuff really is happening. Or, no, you're not crazy. You were hearing those noises, but it's not a ghost. It's your, you know, plumbing or your, you know, whatever.
Exactly.
You know, but people, the root of fear, in my opinion, in my experience, the root of fear is just a lack of knowledge. People are scared of what they don't understand. So you can share that knowledge with them, just like last night. That whole transformation last night, she was gaining knowledge that she didn't have before, and so was he. You know, her boyfriend.
Right.
He completely flipped around too.
Cool.
So you know, it wasn't just her.
Well, it was amazing because he actually heard the voices for the first time.
Like in the moment?
Yeah,
Or
and he actually saw, you know, like one time the dog had gotten up and walked around the corner and looked like this down the hallway, and all of a sudden the motion, you know that big one I have, the security light, the motion detector just lit up the whole room.
Wow.
Right then and there, he knew that there is something, he didn't know what it is. But right then, the respect all went to his wife, and the whole, that even the family came together at that point, and Jeremiah took the family and just worked with it.
Cool.
But it wasn't just me. You guys played just as big a part, just being there, helping with the investigation, and it.
Well, I took one for the team, you know, getting shoved out of the way.
Right.
It was
How'd you
awesome.
feel?
You know, it was one of the first times that's ever happened, and it, you know, it wasn't like, you know, I was really shoved. It was just kind of like we had him cornered, and I happened to be standing in the doorway, and he just left.
Yeah.
And it just went right. Matter of fact, we have an EVP there.
Yeah.
Whoosh, you know, and I go, whoa, and I just kind of moved out of the way, but it was very interesting. It wasn't angry. It was like, hey, I'm getting out of this room.
Yeah. It's more frustrating.
Yeah, it was.
You know, trying to get you guys out of here, and you guys keep asking for more. And then I'm out of here, screw it. Just running right past you. Get out of my way.
Because you were shoved in
Yeah, granola.
granola and the depot there.
Oh, depot. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Granola one caught me off guard because that one I kind of asked for. Well, I asked for both of them. Let's put it that way. Granola was more. I was staring
Why
down
would
the
you
face.
ask for that? I don't know. After experience, I just don't know why you'd
Well,
want
I was staring in the face of something that I knew was there. I mean, and it just, to me, it reminded me of the Callahan story down in Tahlequah, where the thing just revving up, digging his heels in, ready to charge, and then dissipates because the Callahan didn't back down.
Right.
And I think, if you're not going to back down, why I'm out of here kind of thing. So that was going on granola, and I'm like, here I am, what are you going to do? I'm calling you out, I need to know what you are, who you are, whatever the case may be, and it let us know, but it came up from honest. That's what the thing that threw me off.
Really?
Yeah, it came around. It was three of us standing there with myself, Claire, and Jamie, and we were standing there, and it went around Claire between us and pushed both of us, which was weird.
Wow.
That scared the crap out of me.
Somebody just pushed the dog.
Ow.
Right, that was loud. He was gonna say, and then the thing was weird is, it's really weird because Jamie was kind of freaked out by it, and you hear on the recording a little kid's voice come across and says, "Don't cry, mommy," which was the freakiest thing ever after getting shoved. Yeah. So.
Don't
Where was that at?
Remember granola? Remember
Oh,
you
yeah.
were outside.
Yeah.
Remember? And
Yeah,
outside,
okay.
Remember she got shoved outside too at the same time. It's like it's like it
That
knew.
place was.
That was the only time we went there, right?
Yeah, I only went there once. That place was intense.
Yeah, it was heavy. It got really heavy at times. And
The only time I've ever had it wasn't an actual migraine, but it was very close to it, and I can only attribute it to that place. There was no other reason for it.
Well, that's when we were sitting around in that living room. All of us were kind of there, and the thing was just, it doesn't make sense. We had our backs to the wall. The thing was just circling us, like we're going around the room.
What did it look like?
You couldn't see it, you could just feel it.
Okay.
At the time, with the lights.
The
full
energy, yeah,
on,
the
it was
energy
just
was
thick and
just.
heavy. Like it was pissed that how dare you guys talking about me and all this stuff. And it was just, it was just, you could just feel the heaviness of the air. And we found out, find out it was a poltergeist, you know. It was moving shit, I mean, it was throwing shit.
How'd you come to that conclusion?
There's tail signs, but go ahead,
Yeah.
let you explain.
Well, there was, you know, classic poltergeist activity generally starts with more times than not, it starts when there is an emotionally unstable teenager present. And just that supercharged emotion combined with other elements that may be present, the spiritual elements that may be present, it feeds the spiritual energy and actually, in some lines of thought, actually creates the entity.
Yeah. Right.
It's not something that existed before. It's basically a new entity there, and it's tied to the initial teenager that had just the superpowered, unstable emotions that initially fed it.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
It can almost like it projects it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where next thing you know, yes, something was happening there, dark energy, we'll say, and the fact that it latched on to like the teenager, like you said, teenager was, we know through talking to the family, she had a tragic event in her life, and next thing you know, she's seeing this person, you know, as a result, and she's also, I mean, it's centered around her.
Right.
So if you think about the movie Poltergeist,
Right.
I mean, it's Hollywood made up, but it's centered around the little girl, right?
A little Carrie Ann.
Because she interacted with it, she strengthened this thing, and you know, next thing you know, the thing wants her. Well, same thing with this case. I mean, it's the little girl had a tragic event in her life, and she's seen this person that trying to befriend her. Which the craziest thing was, the first time we went out there, we asked it to leave. I mean, the little girl that she saw, and the thing listened.
Yeah.
That's what doesn't make sense. It's like, the thing actually listened to us. They said, we haven't seen her in the house. The little girl hasn't seen her in the house anymore. She's out.
She's out by the tree.
That's
She's
the last
out.
time we've seen her on the property, but not in the house.
Right.
And they asked me, like, you know, can you ask her to come back in one night? I'm like, well, it's up to you guys. If you want me to do it,
Yeah.
I will. And you can actually hear this thing come in. And you and I end up going out, but I think, were you with me in the tree? Or was it Jared? It was Ben, I think.
It was Ben. It was Ben.
But you and I went into the room after I went out and grabbed it. And I can hear this thing. I said, you know, come in. You're going to come this one night. You can come in this house, and you can hear this thing agreeing to it, kind of a thing. And you can hear it following us in. Well, you and I go back to the back room, the little girl's room immediately, and I'm hearing this thing moving around in there. And you look at me like, what do you hear? I'm like, well, I hear voices, whatever, this voice. And that's when I caught the one with the little, this, it's like a little kid crying. I'm like, I'm sorry, you know,
Right.
and there's no kids in the house with us at that time. It was this thing, you know, she's apologizing to us for creating this big stir, but she wasn't the only thing that was there, I don't think. There was multiple things that triggered this, but it's centered around the little girl, basically.
That was the
Teenager girl.
first time I ever saw anything with the grid light work.
Yeah.
That was my first time. I actually saw it was pointing down the hallway toward the bunk beds that were down at the end of the hallway in the bedroom. And I could actually see something get up from the
That's right.
from the bed.
Yeah.
And it looked like it stood up and then crawled underneath the bed.
Yeah, that was wild.
I
Wow.
could see the breaking of the dots and everything, and it go under the bed. It looked just like a little person, like a little kid back there.
It was the weirdest thing, man.
It was laying on the bed, stood up, and went under the bed.
Maybe
Wow.
we need to start looking more under the beds.
I do. I actually do, honestly, in some
Do ya?
locations, yeah, because I'm like, you hide underneath there, you can just sense it. It worked in Dodge City at the Carnegie Art Center, too. Like, I had the little girl in the basement, I was walking around, and I was like, I think I know where you're at. Are you underneath there? And this is during the public investigation, and Paul and I were sitting in between the table, you know, she was on one side, on the other. I'm like, I know where you're at, you're underneath here, aren't you? And you can hear this thing moving and talking to us, and only Paul and I could hear it on that side of the room, everybody else was on the opposite end, couldn't hear it. But it's like we know where to look sometimes.
It's like you and Paula in that one house. It was just last year. It was a trailer, and it was in the bathroom. It was making
Oh,
noises.
yeah,
And it was like
yeah.
actually making noises in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And Paula was actually, I think, in there too.
Yeah. Yep.
But-
That's the one we caught on video. I'm not big on orbs a lot, but that's the one we had a audible voice with it. And this thing wasn't really an orb, it was like a lightning rod kind of. It wasn't a bug.
That was in the hallway, wasn't it?
That was in the bedroom. It was in the master bedroom and the bathroom. Paul was in the bathroom talking to this thing, and the geophone's going off, going crazy, and I can hear this thing talking, and it's like I just happened to point the camera in the right direction at the right time and caught the voice and the thing come across the screen, and it was just, I mean, it was intense, but it's what we do. It's what we signed up to do, basically, and I mean, you never know what you're gonna get until you try. But we've had some crazy cases involving this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. So, fun times.
I'm just sad that I missed a lot of them. I hate that.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I think because granola, I wasn't there for the shoving or anything like that. So
that's the one time you didn't go.
yep, that's the one time I didn't.
Jeremiah did go, and it's like this is the last time we've been there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought you were there. Weren't you there next door?
I was there the previous other
I
time.
could've sworn you were there.
I saw with my own eyes, and I think Ben saw it,
That's
and
right.
Larry saw
That's
it
right.
when Larry was with us too.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Larry.
Yeah.
We were standing out in the we were standing out in the yard, and you guys were inside.
That's right.
And the three of us were talking, and we could see like a face peek around from the side of the tree.
Yeah.
And it was just like a pale white,
That's right.
but you could see it in the darkness. Even at that far away, you saw this pale white face that just kind of peeked around the corner and was staring at us. And we ran over there, and we never heard anybody leaving, running off or anything. And you could hear every step you took out there because of the grass and
Right.
gravel
It's
and
kinda damp
everything.
wet a
So.
little bit too.
So yeah, and at the
That's
same
right.
time, you guys are seeing shadows running back and forth from one house to the other.
Yep.
It was just the oddest place.
It was strange. It was one of my favorite ones, except I hated it at the same time because it was out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
It's about a 2-hour drive from here, 2 hour 15, I think it was.
It's a long drive.
Why are the good ones always so
Right.
far away?
Never in town.
And it was
It's
there's like maybe a dozen houses in this town, and
Yeah.
by 3 blocks, by whatever.
most
it's
of
tiny.
it is a mobile home
Yeah.
park.
Yep.
And the one house that was right there was an old farmhouse that nobody was living in.
Next door, you talking about the one with
Yeah,
the, with the
that-
light,
yeah.
the noose up in the attic supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly a noose up in the attic.
Right. But it was
We
just
never
it
got
was
in.
to a room that you couldn't get into though. That's just it. That made no sense. So it was weird. Yeah.
You couldn't get into it?
Yeah.
We never got into the house. We tried. We had the owners ask if we could get in there, and they wouldn't. The
Wouldn't
guy
let
that
you
owns
in.
it lived out of town. He was on vacation or something. I can't remember what the story was, but they couldn't keep people. They rent that place out next door to them, and they couldn't keep it. People move out.
Within 2 or 3 weeks, they were out.
Did you ever find out why? Was it like a natural spring going through there?
No, honestly, no.
I
It's
wasn't
farmland.
highly active with the team at the time.
Yeah,
I didn't,
It's farmland.
Yeah, it's when you started coming back.
Yeah.
No, and the house that the house we were actually investigating was a family house. The guy that lived there, I think he still lives there now. He inherited it from his family, and because his mom used to always, when he started seeing stuff, and that's talk about a person that's changed persona, like the one we talked about earlier. When we first got him, he was real timid and scared, and I mean, he wasn't really timid, but he was more. I can't think of the word is. He would basically didn't know if he believed. He was kind of on the fence of what he
Yeah, he
believed.
was standoffish. a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
And he got more aggressive the more that we were there, and it actually took a turn for the worse, if you ask my opinion, where he became more, like the more we came around, he would never come around anymore, which I don't know if that was, I don't know if that was part of it, or, because the wife was always there.
Is he the one that ended up getting divorced?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah,
And then
they
split up?
They did.
They ended up having their own
That's it,
differences.
okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, and I think he still lives there. She moved to Texas. She's long out of the house now, and she's living a better life, and I think the little girl's doing better. And
Yeah.
all this
Interesting.
stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we never understood why. We looked at the history behind it. I mean, there's not a lot of history. There was a railroad used to go through there back in the day, where it's kind of starting to be a booming town, and then it just went away. And next thing you
He's
know,
never reached out to you guys at all?
Yeah.
no, and that's
God, you'd think there's stuff
Okay.
going on with
Well,
Or is
anyway,
it
even wasn't he in some kind of a seminary or something like that, or some kind of graduate school with a theological basis or something?
I can't remember 100%. It's been about 5 years since we've been there, and I think maybe not quite 5 years, but I don't remember the whole. I really got to know him the first couple of times he was around, and then he quit coming. We went out there probably like, how many times we went out there? Maybe half a dozen times.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they kept calling us, like we had just went out one weekend and they'd call us back, you guys come back next weekend already? Because they was intense, that intense, I mean as far as the haunting itself.
I think I only went twice, so you guys went a few times there.
I don't know, I can't remember times I've been there. We went there a lot. Every time we went there and we had some crazy activity going on. It was just the weirdest.
And then it just
Interesting
ended
place.
for you guys too, just
They
like
just
that,
out of the
didn't
blue.
it?
Yeah,
Out of
they,
the blue.
they separated and she packed up and we never got called again.
So is it something that ended up taking? I mean, it sounds like the family was happy in the beginning. Did something take over the
They
husband?
weren't happy, I would say. They were terrified, and they rightfully so. They both had Bibles that disappeared. They couldn't find, and they'd never found somebody.
And the kids were terrified at times
Yeah,
too.
they would. The kids, the whole family saw something or had some kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, it wasn't the same one every time. It was something different. Like little kids would see the Indian woman come up to their bed,
Yeah,
and they were on bunk beds. The boys were, and
Wow.
she would only talk to the boy on
the
the
youngest
bottom.
boy, who
on the
was,
bottom.
he had a little bit of a, not really a special need. He had a little bit of a learning disability.
Mhm.
But when he talked to her, it was because the brothers would hear him talk. It was the clearest he could ever talk. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And otherwise, he had a little bit of a
She'd always ask him
speech impediment or
Like,
something.
certain questions. It was, how are you?
Yep.
How's everything going? You know,
Wow.
Yeah.
it was just specific 1 or 2 questions like that. How was your day?
Yep.
How are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And he would just tell her, like, tell her how he's doing in
Yeah.
school and everything like that. And the brother up above is witnessing all this. You know?
And the little boy that she
Did
didn't talk to was calm. Like he was like, wasn't afraid of this thing. And then every time at the end, a guy would come and grab this girl and say, "Hey, we need to go now." And
A guy would walk into the room and say, it's time to leave.
and there's 3 brothers in that room. They all, 2 of the little one that was experiencing this, and then the other 2 witnessed this.
Wow. Did they see the Indian?
They
The
saw it
other
all.
two? Oh wow.
All of them saw it, and it was just the weirdest thing. And the girls next door, in the next room to it, never heard, never were affected by it, but they had their own occurrences going there.
Oh my
But
god.
it was just the weirdest case, but it was a great case. I mean,
Have you ever thought to reaching out to anybody that's in
No.
the house?
I talked to her still, the mom, and she's like at peace, and the girl's doing great down there in Texas. That's where she lives now, the little girl. Now she's a teenager now. She's huge now. I can't believe how big she got. But it was just little things that happened during that investigation that just threw me off. Like we were in the living room, and it was pitch black in this, this whole room. All of a sudden, I see a glowing, brighter than light green dot. And only I could see it for some reason. I go, "What's that?" And they're just like, "What is what?" I'm like, "Over there across the room. What is that?" I point to it. I don't see it. I don't see it. So I get up, walk across the room, and I turn my flashlight on. I'm like, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's pointing to somebody." Not knowing who it was pointed at. It was like on this picture. So the mom goes, "Oh," she walked around and she, "Oh, that's the little girl that has the start of this whole thing. That's her." So whatever was there is pointing at this thing directly and calling it out. I'm like directly onto her picture. I'm like, I've never seen the little girl. She didn't go around and show us, "Hey, this is that girl, this is that girl." I could have known that picture was there. I could have known that was a little girl. And sure as shit, this green dot on her was there. It was weird.
Pointing it out.
Yeah. And it's like, "Oh, I don't want to say her name. That's so-and-so." I'm like, "Oh." We never met the little kids ever. They were never there.
Yeah.
They would never be there when we were there. We asked them not to be there. And we never met them ever to this day, other than the mom and dad. But it was just a case that took so many twists and turns and all kinds of stuff. I mean,
It was like a never ending.
oh yeah.
Well, it's the fact that
Yeah.
you did everything you could to figure out what was happening
Mm-hmm.
with him instead of just going there, showing up, doing a case, and
Yeah.
leaving.
Yep.
Right.
You know, which for a lot of our cases, we do everything we can to solve it for them.
Right.
It's just a lot of it also comes back on the client themselves of whether or not they call us back, answer the phone,
Yeah.
communicate back with us or anything like that. So some cases go unresolved.
Yeah.
Or they just go get a priest and they call it good.
Right.
Right.
You know? So that's the hard part.
And they're never the same.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the last thing I'll say about that case was the interesting thing was that was the one time that I was around the cell sensor did something. Well, the second time.
I was there for one time.
But no, I'm saying the second time was at your brother's house
Oh yeah.
with the cell sensor going off. But this is one of the times the cell sensor. It's a little machine that beeps. We have it on our website, the Everyday Legacy Paranormal website, with the Forum Theater doing the beeping.
Oh yeah.
And we played it here before. But in this particular case at this house, we were all in separate rooms. It was Claire and myself, and I think her and I were, and Ben were in one room, I think, and then you and Brendan. And I think Ben was going back and forth between the rooms, basically.
I think he was.
At the time, it was just Claire and I. It was Claire and I, and I think Ben had just got back in the room. Well, we hear
Which house was this?
the same house, Granola.
Oh no, okay.
You guys were in the next room, and remember, we all hear this cell sensor go off, remember, in the hallway.
Right.
And we hear it as just movement, but the owners who were sitting between us, okay, so you have the two rooms off to the side, the hallway, and then the living room over here. They're in the living room sitting down, and they hear it go off too. But as we're hearing this man talking like nothing, they're hearing a growl over there. So it was like deceiving. Like we were hearing, oh, it's all good, it's just a guy talking. But they're hearing this thing pissed off that we're even there. This is one of the first times we were there, I believe. So that's one time I've seen the cell sensor work really good.
Tell him what the cell sensor is.
Yeah, I started to say that. It's the machine that beeps. It detects EMF. It's just another, it has a little probe that extends from it, and
He said crow.
I know. Rope likes that.
That's when Jason backs up.
But it has a little long cord to it. It has a probe at the end that senses movement, or it's mostly the electromagnetic field. Anytime it's altered or affected, it'll make the cell sensor beep. It'll just beep, and then the stronger it gets, the faster that it'll beep.
Okay.
And like I said, from the forum was one of our best evidence we had with the strength of it
I think
increasing.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, we played it during our couple weeks ago
Yeah.
with our show about the forum theater. But it was just one of the cases we had, and we also used the ghost box where it said Ben's name, remember Benjamin? And that worked really well out there too. We do the thing where we ask, say one of our names, and it didn't say, and it just said Benjamin, and we never call him Benjamin, we call him Ben at the time. And the thing that was really fascinating about that is the only radio station that picked up out there the whole night was a Spanish-speaking station. And for it to speak English clear as day, it wasn't that station. I mean, it had to be something in the room, intelligent. It was a fun, wild case. One of my favorite ones, that's for sure, next to a couple other ones.
Seems like all the good ones end up fading, like you can't get in there anymore.
It makes me wonder, going back to what we talked about earlier, is it the thing that's there itself controlling whether we get back in there or not? Does it have that power and strength over the owners?
Right. And once you go to help them, and you try to help them fight what they're doing, the entity or the spirit or whatever could be finally like, I give.
Right.
And
That's
move
true,
on.
too.
And then, true.
They could.
Yep.
And then next thing you know, we're out of a job. So,
Out of a case, not a job.
out of a case, sorry.
I'm kidding.
Wish it was a job.
What? You want a bit of a job?
No, I said I wish it was a job.
You wish it was our job to do this, not how me, you, and both.
Yeah.
I'm just holding out for the proton pack for the week or two. See, look, I'm telling you. Kidding.
It's coming.
Yeah,
coming.
all right.
I get to be Egon.
Okay. I'll be Vinkman.
I guess with my height, I'm the attorney, right?
No.
I'm Rick Moranis there. So.
That'll work.
With my earmuffs on.
That'll work.
So I got a question for you
Go ahead.
guys,
Fire away.
off topic. So, there was a question asked last night on the way home from the investigation, and when it was answered, I was in the back going, huh? So there was a question Jeremiah brought up to you churches.
The chicken
And
place
that
or
everybody, that's good. Okay, a church of God,
Yes,
of Christ.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got you.
Communion, handing money. So,
The hate mail.
a question was asked on our way home that was, why are the churches that the people that were in the car with me that they go to so haunted? And I was just going, they shouldn't be haunted. Like, no, what? And then all of a sudden, you know, Jeremiah was like, yeah, what? So I'd kind of like to, why? Because you would think that being in a house of God, that, you know, they just would not be hanging out in something like that. But yet,
Why not?
there was a completely different answer that I thought, you know, should have been no. And so what are your thoughts on that? Because that's interesting to me.
I got my thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, one of our most active locations that I've ever been a part of, it was a church.
But it's been a lot of different things. Okay,
But
so I'm talking about
primarily
just
a church.
It's been a church.
It was a
for
church
time.
until
The recent
the
owners.
Rhines
Okay.
took it over
Okay.
and turned
Okay.
it into a theater.
Okay, okay,
But before that, it was always a church.
Right.
okay.
That was
So I
the
didn't
whole
know
purpose of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everything that was still there. Because I wish you could have seen it before they started to get the place.
Mhm.
It was, the hymn books are still out. The dishes in the sink down in the basement, your favorite basement. And there's the baptismal.
Wise guy.
There's the
Baptismal.
thank you.
Said it right the
lost
first
it, I
time.
know, and then I messed it up the second time.
Go
The
ahead.
tub was back on the stage back behind.
Right.
It was all built. It was beautiful. It was something that you guys didn't get to see because
What are
they
doing
never.
with the tub.
No,
The
it's they put
baptismal.
the holy water and you dunk
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the
okay.
person being, baptized.
I just wanted to hear your explanation.
Well, since I couldn't say baptismal the second
Ah,
time,
okay.
I said tub. You know,
Okay,
whatever,
so that
whatever
makes-
you
that
want to do.
makes sense.
So,
Hold on.
but
Right
think
there.
about it. But think about it. Theaters. Everyone's always saying how theaters are always haunted. Here in Wichita, you've got Wilner, you've got the Crown Uptown, you have the Orpheum, you have they say Mosley Street Melodrama. Yeah. You have all these, and it seems like it's always up in Atchison. There's a theater up there, but it was a former church as well.
Murdoch Theater.
Anthony.
Yeah. Anthony Theater,
Yep.
Murdoch Theater.
Why
Theater.
why are theaters so haunted?
It's all of them. Think about
And
it. It's your churches, it's your schools, it's your theaters, it's any word, but
And
Anywhere.
another one that was mentioned last night during this specific conversation was train depots,
yeah.
train stations. Why are they always haunted?
Because you never know who is passing through, and also you never know the extent of emotion or love you put into it. Like all the actors are putting all their passion into it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and who knows? That could have been their whole life, and their best part of their life was right there.
I personally think that's probably the same reason that churches are so often haunted.
Right.
Is it just the amount of emotional energy that's expended there?
The lady up in the choir loft, that was her thing. They said was she loved to sing in the choir, so therefore, why wouldn't she still be going there if that was her favorite place in the world?
And you got so many people going in there day and night. I mean, constantly a large, conglomerate of people. That's a lot of energy built up.
Mhm.
I mean, if you spend a lot of place, I mean, honestly, if any of us pass away, where would we probably haunt? More than likely, it's probably our jobs,
His
or
house.
well, yeah, that too.
Mhm.
But we'd probably haunt our
Right
jobs because
here.
you spend the majority of the time in your job. I mean, it's a possibility. Well, we know he always worked here. He was always here when I got here. When I left, he was still here, kind of a thing. Maybe not, but it's just something that you're passionate about. You're there at this place, or you have unfinished business, or we're sent here to be there for doomed for eternity, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, to me, I think it's just the amount of energy that's there.
Like Wilson at the hotel, Midland Railroad Hotel. Down in the basement, they claim that they see a lot of passengers sitting there. And they look over, and at one moment, right now it looks like a bar with tables and stuff, but they've also seen it all cleared out with people sitting on their trunks and their suitcases.
That's right.
And
Waiting.
what if that was those people's last moment before they got on a train and went to World War I or II?
Right.
And that was the last thing their last peaceful moment. Who knows? I don't know. But
Okay.
Plus, I
Thank
mean,
you.
some of our best evidence we caught at Wilson, remember we played train sounds in that location.
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
we were hearing
that's
things down in that
That's
basement.
right.
So
Selling carpets we were that night. Remember?
Yeah, so-
That's something we should take the next time we go to Dodge. One of those train whistles.
yeah.
Yep.
Why
Definitely.
not?
I think we played train sounds there too, but it didn't work as. I mean, we had some
Yeah,
activities.
we had the,
Like,
but a whistle would be
we had
great.
the train
Yeah.
coming in.
Having an actual whistle for
Yeah.
that would be
Because
awesome.
we actually had Aqua trains that go there, you know, so we were
Right.
using those as, hey, last call, you know, kind of thing. Get here,
You
you
should
know.
have somebody down in the lobby just doing that and hollering out that, like right before we get
Right.
going on the case that night. Have
Sure.
somebody down there just do like a whistle blow
Yeah.
and holler out, you know,
Last call.
last
I mean,
call for the
For
train.
alcohol.
Last
Oh,
call.
wait a minute. Wrong place. All right, we're taking
Hey,
a quick
guys.
break, yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, you announce it. I was gonna remind you.
We're gonna take a little break here. While we're at break, watch the little plugs we've got out here for the team, and don't forget to like and share this video while you're at it. And we will be back in just a few minutes. want you guys to do us a favor, and I'm just going to say it one more time. Like this video, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Like this video. Hit the share button. Both of them have a share button, and help us get the word out. Meanwhile, Roth is playing with his toys.
We'll play afterwards. Put the car down. Fill it up.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh my gosh. All right, so we're back apparently. Roth, we're back. Pay attention.
So what else has been in the news that you guys been reading about?
Well, you and I were just talking about it, and Jeremiah walked in and heard some of it too, talking about
They
the
were
whole.
conspiring against us,
That's
Roth.
right. We're
Yes.
gonna kill you guys sooner or later. Take over the podcast. Talking about the whole launch with the Tesla, the whole Spaceman X, or I think it's not Spaceman X, it's Spaceman. SpaceX is the program, whatever.
You
That
know
was
what
pretty
is?
sweet.
I'm just okay.
Talking about the whole launch
The
of
electrical car.
person.
Tesla.
You heard about it being
Yeah.
launched into space, right?
Tesla. Yep.
Okay.
No, we thought that was pretty cool, just the whole thing that they could do something like that. And I was telling Jason that NASA has to now track this thing, because if they see us in orbit moving around, and like, what is that, whatever, you know, they have to catalog it, because of the fact that they don't want to misidentify it.
Right.
So that was pretty neat. And it makes you wonder, years down the road when we're all long and gone, if it's still out there, you know, what the aliens are going to think when they see it.
I'm just gonna steal it.
What's funny is the guy in the spacesuit, you know, you come up on this thing like, what the hell? There's a guy in there. I was listening to a talk show in New York, and they were making fun of it, just the whole thing. I mean, it was not that. The fact is, what if it was a cruel trick on somebody, that there's somebody actually in the suit, and they knocked him out, and then you wake up like, holy shit!
Right.
What? So that made me chuckle.
Oh my
but,
God.
like, how the hell am I gonna get out? No, but the whole thing is
Press play.
Yeah.
There's a little sticky note in
The
there.
whole thing is the suit. I mean, they're trying to develop these things for NASA and the whole rockets and all that stuff. That's what the
Right.
So future travel, hopefully.
That'd be
supposedly.
amazing, wouldn't it?
Because the rumor was they're 4 years away, probably about from traveling back to the moon, if they ever went in the first place, right? I feel like they did, but
Yeah.
that was the conversation we held.
Photographs, you know, I don't know,
done it in the Hollywood studio.
thousands of photographs.
Hollywood
But, you know.
studio. I mean, there's actual pictures. That's one of the greatest. We had that greatest conspiracy. Remember that? That was like episode number 3 or 4 we did
Yeah.
a long time ago. But
It was intense.
That
It
was
was
a fun
fun.
one.
Huh?
That was a fun one.
It's just circling. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Come on, Grunt. Grunt's not here.
I know. It's
No, I believe it.
There-
I really did. But
now you read about a lot of stories about how what Neil Armstrong was actually the kind of the audio or stuff that wasn't being shared with everybody is that
Right.
he was seeing actual ships
yeah.
that was stationed out there on the moon. and
Right.
stuff
Oh,
like
wow.
that, you know, they're actually saying that now.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've been reading now it is on the internet.
So it's 100% true.
It is.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. But no, there's a lot of people saying that some of the comments being said is that their ships are a lot bigger than ours and stuff like that.
It's not the size that counts. It's
I
how
know.
they use them.
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Apparently, you know, we were able to get there and leave, and they're still there. So.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's getting deep in here.
But
It's like somebody has ship envy.
but they've been saying that some of the astronauts are saying that
No.
up there when they're orbiting that you'll never believe what we're seeing out here.
Well, it depends who you talk to. They also say it's just space junk up there, or
Yeah.
debris and all that crap. But then
Well,
you also
and-
hear the video of the Russian astronauts. I think we played in one of the episodes. I don't know what episode it was, but we talked about. Remember, you saw the footage of the guy seeing the ship below his feet floating around.
Yeah.
And there's a GoPro footage. I think we played it, didn't we?
We
don't
may
think
not
so.
have.
I don't
May not
remember,
I
have.
think I brought it, but we never got to
Got
it or
to it.
something. I don't know if I still have it or not, but I'll find it again for a different episode.
But you know, it's always ice or space debris. But you know, like here on Earth,
Right.
you know, it's not a ghost. It's just gas. It's not a light. It's
Depends
just,
if it's in the room.
yeah, that's true.
Man,
But
or Jake.
and there was a then there was another video that was caught not that long ago of one of a female astronaut. I don't know what her name was. She was up talking about how the windows open and close on the space on the space station up there.
Right.
And she's demonstrating how they can do that and go in complete darkness and not be able to see. Because I guess, you know, staring out the darkness out into space, you can kind of
Space madness.
yeah. So they can close the windows and stuff. And as she's demonstrating that, in the video behind, people pointed out that they were
Right.
seeing an object that was moving in a certain, on its own, basically, not like just floating debris or anything. It was changing direction and shooting across and flying around. There's 2 objects doing that. They were like,
Wow.
Yeah.
they were like flying around
Like
the
following
space
each other,
station
kinda.
and orbiting around it. But
Like
it was
asteroids, when you hit that button, it goes. And you turn it.
I'm a video
I
game.
love
Yeah.
those sound effects.
But no, it was actually shooting
Like-
really
It's like we're in the
fast.
video game.
It was
itself,
shooting
right?
across really fast and then changed direction
Those
and
sound effects.
shot across. And then there was another
Yeah.
one that was going around
Say,
and changing
to the-
direction as it was being piloted.
to the skeptic, they're like, well, that was just put in there
Yeah.
by, you know, Photoshop or whatever, you know, CGI, whatever you want to throw out, whatever excuse.
I
No,
love
I'm not a skeptic,
I
I'm
love
just saying.
skeptics just because it's always bullshit. It's always
Oh,
to
yeah,
them
it'd
it's
never
always
be.
bullshit.
What if it really was? I mean, it's the opposite.
You know,
Yep.
there's even Hollywood people from back in the 60s that said that they didn't have the makeup or the costumes to even do the Patterson film Bigfoot. That it was not possible back then in that time.
Right.
You know, so, but yet you have everybody who says that it's a stunt, it's bullshit,
Right.
whatever. You know, it's just a man in a costume.
Right.
But
Well, that was an
You know.
intense costume. I mean,
Yeah.
really. I mean, you can, if you really look into the analysis of it, and you guys probably know all about this, but if you really look into the analysis of it, they even point out where it looks like the creature in that video had an injury on one
Yeah.
of its legs,
Right.
like an abscess or something, because it's swollen there. Who would put a detail like that in?
yeah.
And it was actually a female, wasn't it?
Yeah,
supposedly?
she had breasts.
She had breast, yeah. And they thought it was, I mean, it was a lot of the thought process behind it.
And the top
If it was fake.
top Hollywood makeup artists who helped do Predator,
Right.
Harry and the Hendersons, and a lot of historical movies that had to do with a lot of detail. Said back in the 60s, something like that
Mhm.
wasn't capable of having such a costume
Right.
made
Right.
just for a few seconds
Right.
of footage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who's going to do that? Plus the size and how it was angling and moving its legs, it wasn't possible to have a person in there. Plus where the head was in the costume, you'd have to have somebody that was at least 8 feet, 9 feet tall
Right.
to have the neck even turn to look the way
Right.
it did. Because the head in a costume would have been down here
Mm-hmm.
in the chest. So, but what I'm saying is, everyone thinks it's so easy just to CGI something and put it out there, like the NASA photo
Right.
Yeah.
or the
And-
NASA footage.
I mean, you can do some pretty amazing stuff with CGI if you have the $25,000 software suite.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've got some nice software on my computer, but I can't do anything anywhere even
Right.
remotely like some of that stuff. You know.
And that's what I like to do in my spare time is take NASA footage or anything and just put CGI into everything.
Right.
Just so skeptics can say, oh, that's bullshit. Yeah, but
No, yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's just the thing about the Patterson footage is it's one of the ones that set off the whole phenomenon as far as Bigfoot. Well, there was earlier cases reported back in the 30s and 40s,
Yeah.
but this is the one that really kicked it off.
Mhm.
Where everybody's going to Washington to look for this thing, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's over
Yeah,
here
you
now.
know,
It's
a
over there.
handheld recording device caught evidence.
Mhm.
You know.
Right.
As far as I know, that was about the earliest account of that.
Actual footage, yeah.
yeah.
You know, any kind of paranormal research.
Right. Yep. So yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, and the only thing now that once again I always play devil's advocate or skeptic because you have to, and it's not my own personal beliefs, but the thing is, why, with everybody having cameras, footage, blah, 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 you know, why can't you capture this thing in clear, high definition versus the lob squash we talked about earlier? Why can't these things be, you know, why haven't we caught this yet?
Why haven't we?
What about the video?
He doesn't believe it.
Well, okay, so what about the one that's been out? I'm sure you guys have seen it. The two guys are going upstream on the four-wheeler.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that on.
And one
Finding
thing
Bigfoot.
It's
that I
grainy
thought,
again, though. Once again, it's
one,
grainy.
well,
Always
but one
grainy.
thing that I thought that was interesting too, though, is this one was one of the first times that I've seen it come forward first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then it's almost like it turned because it saw them.
Right.
And then, because if you watch the video, he's going upstream, going over some rocks and
Right.
stuff, and then you see it coming this direction, and then he stops, and as he points, and then it turns and goes this direction.
But how convenient, though, that they stop in the right spot of all the places to stop. And
But
this
you know
thing
what? That's
captures
going to be
this thing.
everybody's question.
No, I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there.
You know, oh, it's
Right.
so convenient that you were there.
You were shooting the camera at the right direction at the right time to capture
But
this thing.
give
and-
it another scenario. You're kayaking and you're going or you're going down river and you have your GoPros going.
Right.
You're just happen to be in a remote area and you happen to catch it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
They
that.
were ATV.
Was it ATV?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
they were
was
on.
it?
They're on four wheelers, and they
Okay.
were just going up the river.
Well, either way,
I
And
know.
have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest concerns to people were, you know, and this would be a good question for Jeremiah, because I know you used to go camping and stuff like that quite a bit, but they said there is no way, if this is true, there is no way that he couldn't hear the four-wheelers coming.
Who's to say he didn't get up and start
Well,
to walk
but
away?
here's the deal.
Talking about Bigfoot.
Well, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. I know when you've gone camping and you've got water. I lived in Colorado while I was going to school out there, and my uncle was a big hunter. We went, and when you're downstream, you can't hear anything when you're upstream because it's just so loud.
Right.
The water. You could
Water.
have somebody hollering at you, you can't hear.
Right.
But that seemed like everybody was going that route. But anybody that's
I
been
get
out
what you're
there,
saying.
Yeah.
that water blocks
That's
the.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe it was just coming out of the clearing a bit to go off in this direction.
Right.
You don't get to see in the footage where it was walking from.
Right.
It looks like it's coming down the center of the river, and then all of a sudden it just takes off. You know.
Yeah.
But I know Dan, when we were talking one night coming home from the first investigation, and Dan had a question. I don't know if he's on here. Is he on
He was.
here?
I don't know if he still is.
Dan had a question that said, why are they always caught going across something? You know, you never see one coming forwards. And that was one, and it made sense because most of the stuff you do see, people catch it going across the street, across a river,
Well,
across
I mean,
the
okay,
riverbank. But that one, you actually see coming forward, and then it's almost like he noticed it, and then it took off.
Okay, so I have a couple of things to say on that. You see them, videos of them crossing roads, crossing trails.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this one, it's walking. It looks to be walking down a river. Okay, so how many animals do you know that use? Wild animals. Do you know of that use a road for their trail? They don't generally. They
Right.
cross it. Most hiking trails, you might see some animals using it for a game trail, but usually they have their own game trails and they cross the hiking trails. A river is a different thing. That's not a man-made thing. That's something that would be a natural trail or a natural path, an easy landmark to know how to get from one place to another. You know, so and
it's not man-made, so you run a smaller chance of coming across something that wants to kill you and stuff you and put you on display. You know, so.
And like you said, they're out just roaming around. Why would they follow a human path?
Yeah.
You know, and just case in point, like what Brendan and I found on that one print that was crossing the path that we were walking on. We just happened to look down and see this giant print that was crossing, going the opposite direction,
Right.
as if it was just walking through, going this way. It's just doing its own thing.
Right.
We're the ones that's, oh, here's a trail, let's follow it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's all we're doing. But if, just like a bear or a moose or a deer, it's going to be everywhere and crossing everything.
Yeah. Well, we found that out in Tahlequah also too. The one that Brendan and I first found that first night. It was on the trail. It was like off to the side. It was obviously there. It was fresh. And then the next morning when it was sunlight, we went out and went every which way, and there was prints over everywhere. Not on the path, but just wherever the hell it felt like going.
Yeah.
That's where the shelters were. That's where the scratch marks were. That's where all that stuff was.
Right.
Then that one print that was going off towards the bluff.
Yeah,
whatever
they
you
were
call
just
it.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like, which didn't make sense because the last place we saw the footprint was up towards the edge of the bluff, and so it either jumped down and went over, or I don't know what, disappeared.
So have you looked into that?
What?
Are they calling that more?
I don't know, that
On a
footage was
positive
on,
note?
I think it was on Finding
It's been all
Bigfoot as
over.
well, yeah.
It's been around for a while, yeah. I mean, it's
Has
been on
it?
Fact or Fake or somebody, I can't remember who did it, but you gotta remember what they're telling you is their opinion of it. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. Maybe it was Bigfoot, who knows? I mean, who's to say it wasn't? Unless they know, oh, it was me in the suit. I'll do it again for you, want to see it? Kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't know.
it's Finding Bigfoot's just a TV show where you have the woman on there, Renee. She will express the most skepticism on anything.
Right.
An eyewitness sees a Bigfoot jogging down in the little ditch across the road, and she goes, "Oh, Bigfoots would never be running in a ditch." Okay.
Who knows?
How
Have
do you
you
know
asked him?
that? You don't know that.
I mean-
Okay, stop being an idiot and just realize anything's possible with this.
Right.
Wouldn't be running.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, she was very adamant. I just can't imagine a Bigfoot running down a ditch like that. Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know what her take on things are, because she was always adamant about it. They don't exist, it's all
It's
bullcrap. But then you hear her on the little special episodes, they have little pop-ups with their faces, you know, and their comments during the actual episodes. And she's like, Bigfoot wouldn't do that. Bigfoot wouldn't, you know, she would say stuff like, well, you say yourself you don't believe in Bigfoot, but yeah, you know what they sound like, you know this and that about them. I mean, that makes no sense.
But
Contradicting yourself.
and she is overall, because she actually did see, she does this
She did an
because she
encounter.
had her own encounter.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it's like Jason said to me, it's a television show.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
but have you seen the Freeman footage?
The what?
I don't think so.
The Freeman footage? Have you
Oh,
seen that?
I'm sure I have,
I'm
but
trying to remember
Though,
what it is.
that's a famous video. Mr. Freeman, he's videotaping because he actually started seeing a lot of odd things on the property and out there, and he was seeing footprints.
Right.
So he grabs his camera, he's
Oh, yeah.
actually walking along, and he's tracking that, and he happens to look up because he hears a noise, and there is the Sasquatch that's actually right there
Yeah.
in the footage, if you can see that.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
that
I
it's
was-
that
too.
close. It actually comes from around over here, walks right in front of him, looks at him, and continues to walk off into the woods, right in front of him. And a lot of people cannot say whether or not that was faked or not.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's a dark.
That
It's like he's.
That wasn't it. That-
Once again, it's real dark and grainy. It's just like, damn it, why can't it be clear?
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
high definition,
Oh,
4K,
yeah.
whatever. You know.
Well, and it was
Obviously-
94.
Well, yeah, I know this one.
so-
But I'm talking about nowadays cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Technology is so much better. Plus, there's that video out with the drone where they're just filming the scenery, or whatever, and then supposedly down below is a Bigfoot running. I've still never seen that damn thing on that video. It's supposedly it's down below running. I've looked and looked, and it's
yeah.
so damn clear. The video is clear as can be. I've never seen the Bigfoot they looked at. I don't know if you saw it or not.
No,
But
I don't think I could see what was going
Yeah.
on. And did you see the video of
the guy was
the they had the camera up in the tree to monitor, I think it was the bald eagle
Mhm.
that was nesting
oh,
and
right,
everything.
yep.
And the camera actually, you see the nest, you see the bird and everything like that, but down below it's all woods. And there's I say creature, it's a two-legged figure walking down there. And it happens to kind of stop and look around, and then it walks up, and it's all black, it's walking down there all alone, and it just kind of comes into view just for a moment, and then it fades out. But it doesn't look like a backpacker or anything like that. But
Right.
again, it's from way up in the trees, so
Right.
you can't really tell.
Right.
You know, too much. But I mean, there's some things.
Yeah, I mean, there's too much stuff out there that we may or may not know yet. That who knows if it does exist or doesn't exist. I mean, there's
Right.
little telltale signs. I mean, you guys found hair samples that may or may not be.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like anything else. Doesn't make sense as to
No.
what's out there or why.
In my mind, it's
Footprints.
either horse or it's Sasquatch. Yeah, one of the two.
It's poor Squatch.
That would be terrifying. You know, that really would.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, something bad could happen anyways.
That's the real thing from, you know, like in Harry Potter, the half horse, half human.
Right.
It's actually Sasquatch
How about the
horse.
Centurion?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah,
what it
yeah,
is.
there we go.
Yeah.
Did you
See,
see
and
Harry Potter?
that hair, that hair that you have though, it seems like it's longer, or
Well, I
Real.
mean, if you look at any photograph of what, you know, what eyewitnesses say is that it has long
Right.
hair hanging off of its
Mhm.
arms.
Like
And stuff
Bigfoot's
like
not getting
that.
haircuts anytime soon, so it's like,
Well, have you ever seen an orangutan?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they've got long hair.
right.
yeah,
And it's
they do.
thick and it's coarse.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
So
mean, the closest thing I can think of, it could, but it doesn't really look like horsehair.
and
Horsehair is more kind of, I don't know.
there wasn't any way for anyone to get up there onto his property through the gates
Right.
unless he unlocked it and let them in
Yeah.
Mhm.
onto the property with a horse. But
Right.
why are you doing that? Why would he allow just to go?
Well, it could have been on the
Right.
other side of the.
Could have, but we hiked that whole area too. We went over on the other side. There wasn't, you know, I mean,
Did,
yeah,
did,
they
did you
could
see any
have.
tracks
I was
or
gonna say the same
anything?
thing, yeah.
Like hoof tracks or.
He did have cattle. He had 4 cows.
But
Yeah.
they leave because cattle have cloven hooves.
You're
Right. Didn't
You
see any of that. The land itself in certain areas was
Kind of dry.
Kinda dry.
I see.
it was cold and everything. It was still kind of, I think it was March last year is when we went. So the ground was still soft in some areas, but generally it was just kind of cold and bitter that day.
Right.
But even on the other side of the barbed wire fence on the other property that we went over, he was like, yeah, I know the guy, we can go over. So we went over and we walked
Right.
quite a ways around. And it was thick woods and lots of rock and a lot of ditch area too.
Mhm.
A lot of area to hide. I mean, I almost lost them. Brendan and the guy were actually hollering out my name and I couldn't hear them.
Oh wow.
You know, so, and I was just like, I'm by myself now. Maybe I shouldn't be by myself. So that's when I had to remember how I came and went back, and then I found them.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize how far away I had walked. And I
Right.
couldn't hear them.
Yeah.
You know, anything could have been around, and we were hearing what it sounded like the rock
Right.
clicking and some noises out there. But it was the print that we had that we were casting that the cows
Oh.
stepped in.
Oh, that's right.
So
Oh,
ruined
that would be just
ruined
sickening.
that moment, yeah. But where were we going with that?
Oh hell, I don't
I was
know.
just talking.
Did we have a point?
Yeah.
I just know. Okay, so
How about footage?
I don't know. I keep going back to that vocalization we heard
Yeah.
that first time down in Tahlequah.
Right.
You know, I was already pretty much a believer in Bigfoot, but that took away any doubt that was not any animal that I've ever heard
Right.
in the wild, and I've camped in all kinds of different places.
Yeah.
It just I mean,
No, I get it.
made me think
Yeah.
twice about being the idiot sleeping out there under the stars and no tent. But
Right.
But would you
no,
do it
I'd do
again?
it again.
Of course
But
he would.
But and you guys have even I know Brendan has even compared like the
Yeah.
sound of it to
Mhm.
other animals,
Mhm.
and there's not much. The only thing that comes close is what sounds like a
Silverback
gorilla.
Yeah.
Right. Which
Yeah.
out there shouldn't be any silverback gorillas.
no.
I hope not, because I'm still never going back.
Right.
Oh.
For sure.
Yeah, right?
But no, and like I said, I had questions about Bigfoot, and like before we went out there. But that whole night's events with the scratching of the trees way high up, that nobody else could get to, the footprints, the shelters, the rock throwing, the wood knocks, the growls. I mean, it all. If there's everything such thing as a Bigfoot, that's got to
Right.
be it. I mean,
Now the last time we were out there at Tahlequah, I do remember having a daylight sighting. I know what I saw. I was I driving or was I passenger? I can't remember if I was driving. I think I was driving. I was on my way out to the cemetery, and I think it was just my dad and I. And we were driving, and I was in the passenger seat. He was driving. My dad was. But I remember it
Was
was.
this when we were all going out there and I
Yeah.
left my keys in my truck?
during the daytime.
It was during the
Out
daytime.
the
We were just
cemetery.
kind of going out there to kind of just take a peek to where it was at.
You had never seen it
At the
that point,
cemetery,
yeah.
and I think it was just my dad and I, because I don't remember another car around. It was just for a brief moment, but it was that long stretch off the highway and that long stretch of dirt road, and I was just kind of looking out the window and just looking in the fields, and in the brush, I saw the figure and I saw the long tail, and I'm like, that's a cat, and that thing's bigger than me.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was a cat. That's a freaking mountain lion or
I tell you,
something. Yeah.
that is a
That
scary
spooked-
sight.
That
Yeah.
spooked the crap out of
The
me.
sound
Yeah.
they make too. Yeah.
The-
Yeah.
When I lived in Colorado, I was of course, Colorado big cats, no big news there, but
Right.
it's still just, it's so surreal when you actually see one. I was working in the Larkspur area. They have a huge Renaissance festival there and a lot of big, nice, beautiful homes. I wasn't working in construction at the time, and I was trying. It was about a 45-minute drive from my house to get to the house where I was working, and getting up into the hills there. And I kind of come around this curve where it opens up into a valley with some pasture land right there. And I see something walking across the road, and it walks up to this now probably a 4-foot high, 5 or 6 strand barbed wire fence, and just hops over it, no problem. And I get up close, and I realize, holy shit, that's a panther. That's a mountain lion out there. And I can see the deck where I'm supposed to be working right there. And so I sat in my truck for about an hour and just made sure, because, yeah, that's spooky.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why I think I was more nervous about that going out to the cemetery that night
Yeah.
than anything else.
Yeah.
Really. I think my eyes were like more focused on like big cats
Right.
than I was anything else.
That's good.
And then you fell out of the chair and I couldn't help it.
So you sent me out there with big cats running around?
Well, I mean, there's
First
cats
the
out there.
basement, the
There's
cemetery.
bears. I mean, there's all kinds of shit out there.
Bears.
There's boars out there, wild boars. I mean, there's all kinds of shit out there. We have potentially.
But you were in a
Running
fenced
into-
area.
Oh, yeah.
what the heck?
Good kitty.
Yeah, it's scary shit out there.
Yeah,
I-
yeah, it's definitely out in the middle of nowhere.
It makes me
That-
wonder how crazy we are for being out there roaming the sides. I mean, the hillsides and the
About
mountainside.
that. Oh my God, going down to the
I don't know
little
what the hell we're
caverns.
thinking.
Yeah,
By a running brook that that.
animals go down to running brooks.
Yeah, I'm
you
not
know?
saying.
Bear, everything goes down there.
So,
Well, and I think
I'm gonna start bringing some different weapons with me next
I had a
time.
shotgun.
That's
I had
why-
a shotgun. I just
I warned
didn't
everybody
carry it.
last time.
That's why I had my sidearm last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That,
That's the reason why I wanted it, because it was
That's why I
a
brought
little
the
too
shotgun.
mild.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Bring it
armed because of Bigfoot. I was
Yeah.
armed because of anything else that might be out there.
Right, I'm
Well,
glad.
I think, was it, who's the younger brother?
Out there?
Gerald?
Yeah. No, Marvin.
Marvin.
Yep.
Marvin, we were out, I don't know if you heard this conversation, but I think
Yeah.
it was not the last time, but the time before that,
Right.
when our cables got clipped. It was, he said, oh yeah, back down there in the, near the
Where we
creek.
were at.
In the creek area, up there on that high ridge,
Yeah.
there's I looked right up and saw a bear looking down.
Yep. And you know the time we went down there this last time? The last time we were down there, that's why I kept looking up for that reason.
Yeah.
Above. I'm like, what the hell's up there, I wonder? Because I was like, I don't want to. Because only one of us has to be fast enough to run, so, and I'm going to be that person.
No wonder they were saying, "Come on, bro, come with us."
Yeah, I think about that shit all the
And
time.
didn't you just say you enjoy following us and stuff?
Yeah.
We just don't tell you those little
He's
tidbits
rethinking that now.
about that, you know.
Yeah, like I said, I've said this before, it amazes me some of the places we go and investigate, or just in general. I mean, we're pretty fortunate to see behind the scenes stuff, but we're also crazy for going into some of these disgusting, whatever. I mean, they can't be healthy for us.
No,
The cat piss places, and
theaters that are covered with
black
mold
mold
and
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
And we're running around there like,
yeah, all the dust we breathe in. Like when we show our cameras to the owners, like, oh my god, there's so much dust here. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're breathing in. And that's what you're breathing in every time you're here.
Yeah.
Think about that. So, yeah, it's no wonder why we're not all sick and whatever else.
Actually, we've all had some health issues.
That's damn why. I mean, we go.
It's not just the paranormal; it's the
ticks.
hazards of my
Yeah.
god, yeah, the ticks.
Oh god.
Oh.
Yeah, especially down there, it's just like.
That's another reason why Brendan and I don't go out as often.
Yeah.
For the Bigfoot in Kansas is because of the tick season and stuff like
Snakes.
that. Snakes.
Or rattlesnakes and copperheads. At least. Fuck, man.
I know.
Some scary
Ropes is
stuff.
like, I'm good.
Done.
And that's another reason with the spiders and webs and stuff out there on the trail. That's another reason why I don't walk further.
I think
Yeah.
I'll stay with Bones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Dude,
stick
how do you
with
think I
Bones.
feel? I'm not an outdoors
Nothing
person
will
at
turn
all,
you
man.
into a ninja as fast as a spider web walking right
Speaking
through
of,
a spider web.
Paul and her spider dance she did out in Wilson. Yeah, but she did a-
Well, she's
Spider
got a
dance.
spider dance and he had a spider dance.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what.
That's
that was.
all right. In Wilson, I kind of did that little moment with that little snake that was down in the basement.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I saw that and I was like,
We had that on camera.
yeah,
We had that
I-
snake.
hell-
We were
hell
like,
no.
hey, let's go in the basement. And then
Hell
there's a
no.
snake in the freaking house. Not in
A
the boot.
snake?
Not a snake in my boot.
It's
Snake in the damn
down
house. In the basement.
Down in the basement.
It got in, yeah. And we're just like, oh,
It
there
was
it
just
is.
a little one.
Yeah.
It wasn't that.
Still.
But still.
Yeah.
Still. You know, it was.
Yeah, some of the stuff we do, I swear. I mean, what are we thinking? I mean, really.
You know.
I mean, paranormal is one thing, but things we can see, the freaking snakes, the bats that we run across, god dang. those
Roaches.
Stupid bats. Roaches.
Yeah, roaches in one area. I'm not going to say the
I'm trying to
location.
remember which one that was.
I'm not going to say the location. I'm just saying that I had my camera. I had the night vision on, and I'm going, and I look over at the counter, and I'm like, what's that movement?
Yeah.
And I zoom in, and there's probably about 4 roaches crawling across the
Yeah,
counter.
I got you.
I was just like, I'm done. That's
The mice or possibly rats, whatever that was. I
possibly
don't know what that
mice or
was.
rats that were
Yeah.
in the area
In
too.
the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We go to some fun place. You want to come out and
You've
with us
been
and
there.
investigate?
Yeah.
Some,
You've been
it's
there.
like fun. Yeah. How fun does this sound? I mean, this is the shit we do. I mean,
And we don't get paid for it.
We need to start renegotiating.
For every critter we see, we charge you $50.
We've seen some doozies, haven't we? Holy crap. One of my favorite ones is also Tahlequah when we're down there and I'm watching the camera, or I'm watching out in, I think, broad daylight. I'm off to the side behind the house and I see this thing coming through the woods. I'm like, what is that? And it looks like a big cat. I'm like, holy shit. I see this thing. It's early morning. Everybody else was still sleeping. It's the actual cats from the property. They're running around there with the animals, but it's creepy. But from the distance where I was at to where between the trees, it looked bigger than it was. And it came out and little cat. I'm like, what the fuck? Well, I'm glad to see that little cat, but I was just like, holy shit. It was actual, like, one of their stray cats they have roaming around there.
It's amazing the things that you hear in the woods that just freak you out.
Oh, God.
I remember it was, and I probably told you this before, but it was Brendan, myself, my dad, and Brendan's cousin.
Yeah.
And we're in a location that a lot of reports.
Right.
It was in a general vicinity of where Finding Bigfoot
Right.
filmed. Their Kansas episode.
Right.
And we're out there camping, and as we're trying to eat, we're all sitting there with our plate, and we're having our dinner. It's dark out, and all of a sudden we hear, and we're the only ones camping. We're the only ones out there at this area.
Right.
And we hear what sounds like something heavy and huge coming through the brush just overhead. So we're all like, stop. And we all, well, the three of us, my dad's still eating.
Yeah, he thinks military.
And, he's just sitting there. He's still eating. And the three of us get up. We were like, standing there going, what do we do? What do we do? Do we go? Do we go after it? Do we charge it? What do we do?
Right.
And it's still like moving around. Something seems to be watching us.
Right.
Finally, we make mad dash. We got flashlights on, clink, clink, headlights. We're going in. We're diving into the woods. My dad's still eating. And we run in there, and two things surprised the shit out of us. First, it was a rabbit.
Another rabbit?
It was a rabbit.
Damn rabbit.
It was a rabbit. But what caught us off guard is that the further we went in there was animal bones that were hanging from a tree limb.
Wow.
On rope.
Interesting.
That were just dangling there.
Huh.
And some of it looked like it still had a little bit of meat kind of left on
Like
it.
fresh
and
meat.
Something was being baited.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of caught us off guard a little
Right.
bit too. So we're like, okay, we got what is this, a man-eating rabbit here that's like, trying to track us and trap us here. But, it's amazing how people, it is. You can take something so, to you it seems massive and it seems horrible, and it turns out to be not that.
Right.
Well, like we talked about
Just a rabbit.
this stupid rabbit down in Tahlequah when you and Brendan and I, in the middle of the goddamn night, out there in this, trail path out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not an outdoor person, and you hear this thing coming, following us, mimicking us every time we walk. It's like, holy shit, this thing's coming for us. And then we just all stop, and this thing's coming, charging. We're like, oh, fuck, here we go. Either I'm going to die, or we're going to get into a fight with something, and then this rabbit comes out of the brush. And it's just like, oh, thank God, but God dang it, how dare you?
Yeah, but
Oh my God.
but we had just
Why
found
aren't
the
there rocks?
prints,
Yeah.
the footprints. Now a rabbit didn't make that
No,
print,
of course
Right.
But the fact that this thing was it's not
His
bigger
buddy
than life.
did.
Well, it does. Especially in the dark, everything sounds so much bigger than it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite so bad during the day, but
No.
in thick woods, it's still pretty bad during the day.
Yeah, and you could not hear the campsite. I mean, it was once you get to a certain point out there, all sound just it's gone.
Yeah.
Whatever is out there with you.
Hell, I can't even hear from the house, out there that we're
Yeah.
investigating. You couldn't hear anything from the camp.
Right. It's
No,
crazy.
you couldn't.
It's intense, man.
But see that, like you said, in the dark, your mind plays with you,
Oh
and,
God.
and that's the same thing that happens with, people in their homes and
Right.
investigating with the paranormal and everything.
For sure.
That's why we need
plays
some
with it plays with
military
their mind.
donated night vision goggles.
That's what we need Casey to send us.
Yeah.
Get him to send us one of those.
Right.
Yeah.
Should
I know he watches this occasionally.
He
so.
does. Yeah, he does.
But no, and it all comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, is that people don't know what they're dealing with when they're
Right.
in their house
Right.
at all. And they go from, oh, I never believed in this until this happened. Okay, well now it's happening, and now you're going to all extremes, like it's the devil, it's the demons, it's all this,
Right.
and I need help, and can you come out here, and oh, thank you, and while you were in your car driving here, I had a priest come and bless the house. Okay, thank you. All right, so
But we also tell them, if you still want us to come out, anything changes,
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah.
And we found out recently that the same next day, whatever, we need you out here for
Yeah.
good reason.
Mhm.
We had an interesting night that night too. I mean,
Yeah.
we got some good stuff, or went over some good
There was
stuff.
some,
So you never know.
I like helping people. I
Yeah,
love doing
me
it. I want people to use their mind too, and not just
Right.
crazy.
Well, I think it helps them too that when we come in there, we are the way we are. We're serious about what we're doing. We're professional in what we're doing. And, we hear the noise, we charge towards it versus run the opposite way. And they want to run, like, oh, they're not running. Maybe we should kind of look and see what they're doing too, And I think they get more comfortable with the surroundings, even though, like, well, is that what that is? I hear that noise all the time. Or,
Right.
I hear that voice, and now it's not threatening to you guys, so it must not be threatening for me.
Right.
Kind of thing. So it's fun to help, like you said, help people and educate them and let them know what may or may not be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a time when we were in Wilson and there wasn't a rotation yet, but I had to go to another area and some people had branched off or something and they saw my shirt and knew that I was working with the group. And the guy goes, I just hear them going, I don't know, have that guy do it. He's got the shirt on. I'm like, I just kept going. I'm not mentioning, but yeah, you're right. I mean, like when we were there over the, yesterday, if we wouldn't have been in that room with that stuff going on, there's no way they would have stayed in there.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no way they would have been,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they'd have been running, especially with that growl. I mean, how many people hear something like that and stay?
Right. Let alone walk
Yeah,
towards it.
he does, yeah. But something like that, if you were just down, you'd be taken off.
Get out of there.
Yeah,
like,
and they feel safe.
it's demonic, I gotta go. No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's somebody's stomach, they're hungry. Just kidding. No, it's just, they're angry that we're there. Whatever's there, they want us out.
And I've noticed too, the family was feeding off of us, and they started getting involved,
Yeah.
and we're asking some good questions.
Good,
I mean, they weren't just going nuts. They
Right.
were, so that's always nice too.
Mhm.
Yep.
Because it helps. I mean, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people that have had other teams over, and they can't be a part of it. They're not allowed. Why not?
They
I mean,
charge $400.
I was just gonna bring
Right,
that up.
yeah,
Yeah. We will.
Are
We
we
will
doing
not
something
do
wrong?
that. We won't. Yeah. Well, no.
No.
That's why I said ours is $500.
Yeah.
That was a good
So
deal.
you want us to investigate your house? We don't charge. Whereas other teams, not naming names, will charge you $400 to
We
come
don't
out
charge for
and.
anything we do, any kind
Really?
of investigations.
Yeah.
Just remember that from that
yeah,
one night?
yeah.
A couple weekends ago?
They reached
Because
out
it was
to
an-
another group
It was an
and
emergency, remember? And
Because-
where were you at? You were on the phone outside.
he
Oh, okay.
That's why you didn't hear that part. Yeah, they reached out to another team before us, and they said, well, this is going on, it's kind of an emergency. They told this team that, and the team's like, well, since it's an emergency, we'll come out, but it's $400.
But we'll stay for 12 hours.
Yeah. Oh, we had 12 hours. I forgot about that part.
And the guy was just like, what are we gonna do? Feed you? Why do you have us? 12 hours? Are we gonna be feeding you too?
Yeah.
And paying you $400?
And I made the
So-
comment, we didn't tell you we're $500? I didn't tell you that? That's what
Wow.
I said to them. But obviously I was kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we're 100% free for our service.
And that's a little
bit-
to help.
So if they wouldn't have known you, did you ask them if they would have paid it?
They probably would have paid.
No, because I think that's why they went and kept moving on.
They
Yeah.
moved on to another
Yeah.
room.
Which is good
Jeez.
for them, because do your research before you do anything.
Yeah.
Before you have total strangers come out to your house and say, oh, you know what, there's nothing here, or, oh, you're crazy, or whatever. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, we're not saying to pick us or anything, but at
Yes,
the
we
same
are.
time, well, okay. But yeah,
Sorry.
do your research. Look people up and find out what they can do for you
Mhm.
and stuff.
I mean, there's a reason teams like us have been around for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
I mean, because we take honor in what we do, and we take it
We're
serious.
good.
I mean, yeah,
We're good at it. I mean,
yeah,
it's
what it boils down to.
no hands. I mean, no bragging. It's just
Yeah.
that's the case. We're good at it.
If we send Roth in first and he survives, we're good.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Like what?
Well, and when you guys
Let's
say
take
that,
that.
it's, even when we've worked with other teams and talked to other teams, it is amazing how good we are. You know, I'm not trying to be,
Okay.
you know, like that, but it's just listening to other investigators tell stories about stuff that happens. And,
Right.
you know,
I've had other teams tell me that, man, you guys do something different than what we do, and can we come on board with you? I'm like, of course. I mean, we're not going to say no. You can't come to us. You know, whatever. We're here to network and reach out and branch out. You know, I mean, we don't have to be enemies in this field, even though some people like to be.
Yeah, like even last night we ended up almost picking up 3 places possibly, just
really?
just from a neighbor that happened to stop in.
Oh, wow.
You know, and just knocked on the door and came over, and you know, we didn't sit there and go, "Oh, what are you doing here?" You know, we just listened to her, and before you know it, she, you know, because of the respect we gave her,
Right.
He's working on 3 other deals
Nice.
there. So
That's awesome.
I love meeting new people. I love, I don't know, spreading what we do and everything like that. I love it.
Right. Yep.
It's a huge part of it.
Yep.
one of them
Huge
could
part.
be. I know everybody
Right now,
there
on
can't
here.
see it, but they like that.
That looks old.
Yeah, that's in Halstead.
I'll see where it's at.
Is that the school or the church or the
Don't
church?
say where it's at.
It's
What's the address next
that's
to
the hospital.
There you go.
I think that's the
I
hospital.
don't know.
That's the picture I showed you last
You
night.
can't see
Oh,
it.
I thought she said it was a school.
Is that the
You showed me
school?
the
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2, something like that. But
Freaking
I mean,
Ricky.
just by being respectful and knowing what you're doing, that's what happens.
The address of the
Sorry.
railroad?
Can't say that.
If you want to know, you show them where it's at, you show the picture of the camera.
But can they get in? That's a big thing.
You never know. Anyways, just give you
But you know,
crap.
you treat people right, and that's kind of stuff you get.
Right.
Right.
You know.
Yep. Definitely. Well, we're getting close to the end here, boys.
Absolutely.
Are we already?
Yeah.
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 Yep. 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah. So any kind of final thoughts? I mean, just anything we talked about tonight? Anything anybody want to throw out there?
To everybody at home who thinks they are having an issue, work with people first to figure out, you got to find out what's going on at home or in your business before you jump to conclusions of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
For your own well-being, for your family or friends, it's worth figuring out what is actually happening before you get too carried away and actually harm yourself by jumping off that deep end with it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I've seen that happen before. So.
we're reliving your moment there.
Uh-oh.
What?
I'll show you in a minute. I will pause it on that for you.
What did I do?
When you showed the camera.
The picture.
Yeah,
Oh, they
yeah,
can't
you're
even
like,
see
"Right
it. They
here,
can't
it's
even
just
see
funny.
it.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
you can't even see it.
Oh, you can see it. Address on there and everything. I'm just kidding. It's not really a big thing, but you're killing me.
That's awesome.
Rookie mistake. You're fired. Oh shit, that's good, man. It's only Roth. Something Ruby would do.
You look a little red, bro.
Hence the name Ruby.
I'm gonna start throwing stuff.
This was a good episode. It was fun. We had a good time.
It's good to get back. Good to
Yep.
get back.
Get back into the grind. Yep.
So, what are we doing next week?
Another
Anybody got
episode.
anything going on work-wise?
Work-wise.
Case-wise?
Yeah.
No, I'm still working on getting a hold with Brendan so we can finally go hit some spots that we've been talking about for a long
For
time.
Bigfoot in Kansas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just it's weather and all that stuff. We gotta figure out, like, is it gonna be 20 degrees outside or 19, or is it gonna be 60? You know, that's fine as long as the ticks are not around.
I don't know. I think they think they're gonna die, and then they wait.
I just want
I
them all
think
to
they're
die.
gonna. No, I don't
It's
know.
just-
Yep.
I don't know. We've had a pretty good couple freezes. I'm sure
Yeah.
they're done for.
Okay.
Well, let us know when you
Said
get
you have
back.
to field them up
Yeah.
real quick. Yeah, they need to let
We
us
had
Did you go to this point?
11 days straight of close to 0 temperatures.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That was enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got a bunch of evidence to go over still and get those reveals put together and start scheduling those and get them out. So,
Yep.
It's coming up quick here.
Good.
What about you guys? Anything?
Nope, I really don't have anything else in the, which is actually kind of feels good. But
Yeah, we'll be back, once again, we'll be back out in Dodge April, what day is it? 15th, something like that, 13th, 14th?
14th, I think.
One of those days in April. It's on our website, so you can find it that way. And once again, it may be or may not be sold out. It's worth a shot. If not, like I said, get on the wait list and we the next.
Yeah, and I don't think he put it on the website. A couple
really?
of people from Dodge have called and asked me,
Oh, okay.
like, why isn't it on the website? And
Well,
I don't know why he's not putting it on, but
Because
so.
I think it's already sold.
Maybe that's why.
Because he has so many people
Well, I tried to
calling.
go that 3 days prior, and it was.
But he might.
Did you call him though? Because you have to
I
call
did not. I told
Yeah.
them just to call him
That's
because
right.
I think that's the way
Because
he's doing it.
he's been letting me know through email how it's going and everything, and I think April sold out in January. So
That makes sense.
yeah, I think because he made an announcement. Hey, we've got another one that we've added for April, and I think he said next thing he knew it was pretty much gone.
So maybe that's why it's not advertised yet or at all for that reason. So
And to everybody who came out to Dodge City in January, it was fantastic. It was amazing. To Carl, his wife, to John, who helped us out
Yep.
with everything.
to Mike and Aaron for
Yeah,
helping out.
Mike and Aaron, thank you
Yeah.
so much for helping out.
We'll use you guys again soon for
Yeah.
some other stuff. So be ready.
See if they can have
They're
some more
watching. I know
encounters.
she's watching tonight.
Is
so
she?
She was.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said hi.
See if she
So-
can have more
Could you tell her I
encounters.
said hi?
I will not. Tell her yourself. She's right
I know,
there.
I'm just kidding. I was just hoping you'd go,
Nah.
Red says hi.
Anyways,
My daughter
I
just
just saw
messaged us on Facebook, said, Dad, it's Melanie, you guys should come do an investigation at our house.
tell her $500. We'll be out there.
Right. I told her, well, we will at some point, but your
Yeah.
room's gonna have to be cleaned first, so.
Find out that's where the demon lives.
Yeah, why
Get that
haven't
room
we
clean.
gone over there yet?
Hey man, talk to the owner.
Yeah?
Talk to the owners. I mean,
We just
Yeah,
gotta
we
do
need
it.
to,
Yeah.
we need,
Just
we
gotta
need
do
it, but their room really does have to get cleaned first, it's bad.
Nice. Very cool. All right, guys. We have about a couple minutes left. Let's get this show wrapped up and on to the next one.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Yep.
Thanks,
People at home, thanks
everybody.
for joining in. Make sure you go and like, subscribe to this video, share it, like all of our pages. I'm gonna get the word out that we're here to help and we're here to have fun with you guys on this podcast. So,
Yep.
here to inform.
If you want to see, listen to any of our evidence and everything, go to everydaylegacyparanormal.com.
Right.
.com. It's Everyday Legacy.
It's everydaylegacy.com.
I said it all wrong, sorry. But it's at the Everyday Legacy Paranormal site.
Yep.
So you can do that. Leo keeps it updated pretty good with
Right.
a lot of the locations that we've done. So a lot of fascinating
Yep.
pieces of evidence on there. And he keeps some even new stuff on there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm still trying to update as much as I can every day, so you never know what's going to be on there next. So, check back frequently.
You bet.
Cool.
All right.
All
All
right,
right, y'all. On to the next time. See you next week.
have a good night.
See ya.